Yo, serious question. Have you in your adult life had a disagreement with somebody and you were able to convince them they were wrong? It is crazy because we run into this all the time where we think, I'll just give enough facts to somebody and then they'll see it with the truth that is there. In my experience, I never convince anyone of anything. So the purpose is not to convince people. The purpose is to create a nexus for their own thought-provoking outcome, to where maybe I ask something instead of trying to convince them that will give them the opportunity to go look into it themselves. Jesus is asked once by the Pharisees. They say, by what authority are you doing these things? Now, if Jesus wanted to prove who he was, he wanted to be right, he could have easily just said, I'm the Son of God. Why aren't you listening to what I'm saying? But instead what he says is, by whom's baptism did John baptize? Was that from heaven or from men? And they think about it and they are saying, well, if we say from heaven, then Jesus will say, why didn't you listen to him? But if we say from men, all the people thought that he was a prophet, meaning that he's doing these things from heaven. And they were afraid that they'd be stoned for this. And so they just simply say, we don't know. And Jesus' reply is, then I won't tell you either. He could have just taken that opportunity to prove who he was, but instead he goes on to say that there's this wealthy person that owns a vineyard, and he goes off on a journey and he leaves some people in charge. And when it comes time for that vineyard to produce, he sends somebody back to get some of that produce, and they run him off. And then he sends another, they run him off. Eventually he sends his son and they kill him. And then he says, what do you think that wealthy vineyard owner is going to do when he comes back? He's going to have all of them killed. And they say, may it never be. And he says, well, then how is it that the chief cornerstone is rejected? And then they know that he's talking about the fact that the Messiah will be rejected by them. They get super pissed and they try to then have him killed by sneaking people in and asking him kind of these nefarious questions. And so his approach wasn't just to simply state what was true, it was to carve out in them the opportunity to maybe consider some other thoughts. And this is the approach that I find actually helps when somebody does it to me. Instead of just trying to convince me, they give me the opportunity to think about stuff. And in reciprocity to that, I try to make sure I'm doing the same thing back. I want to ask questions that will make them think, because there is no such thing as convincing somebody opposed to their values, but you can give them the opportunity to think.